more than $2 million. That's the huge prize a ship can bring in during just one king crab fishing season in Alaska, a figure enough to change the life of any sailor who dares to set sail. But to reach that red treasure, they have to give up everything. The winter ocean raged like a giant monster. Waves over 12 meters high slammed into the steel deck. Winds howled over 100 kilometers per hour through the icy fog, and tons of ice covered every cable, turning the ship into a death trap in the middle of the ocean. On deck, every step is a gamble of life and death. But Alaskan fishermen still rush into the game because they know clearly the more dangerous, the bigger the profit. The Discover. How fishermen risked death for a $2 million king crab haul in Alaska's stormy waters. Alaska, the northernmost land of the United States, is not only famous for its icebergs and polar bears, but also houses one of the most expensive seafood treasures on the planet, king crab. Behind that wild beauty lies a harsh battlefield where humans must face nature head-on to survive. The king crab season lasts just a few short weeks each year. It's like a modern-day gold rush. Whoever dares to go out, who's skilled and lucky enough, can come back with hauls worth millions of dollars. But this wealth always comes with danger. The Bering Sea is famous for sudden storms, fierce winds, and high waves that can sink entire ships in the blink of an eye. Therefore, each trip is both a chance to change your life and a gamble that fishermen must bet with their own lives. And what makes the story even more dramatic, a single king crab can weigh up to 20 pounds, and hundreds in a pot can bring in as much as a new car. So how did a crew manage to amass a haul worth $2 million just for one short season? On giant crab fishing boats, at the center of every story are simple fishermen, whose whole lives are tied to the cold Alaskan sea, where every day is a test of the limits of strength and will. Before each voyage, the deck becomes a bustling workshop. Hundreds of kilograms of pots are carefully inspected, cables are rewound, radar and navigation systems are calibrated to the last detail. Any small mistake can cost a season or a life. But what haunts them most is not the storm, but the pressure from the mainland. Behind every man on deck is a family waiting, children waiting for news of their father's return. Bills piling up and dreams of changing their lives with a giant haul. On their wind-worn faces, their eyes reflected a strange mixture, both toughness in the face of danger and desire for the prospect of $2 million waiting at the bottom of the sea. And it was this contrast that made the journey so dramatic, a race not only with nature, but also with their own fate. The Alaskan Sea was calm at first, but no one on board dared to believe in that calm. They knew that in just a few hours, the wind could change direction, and clear blue skies could turn into a raging storm. As the first waves hit, the deck began to rock. Each crash of the sea was a reminder that they were moving deeper into dangerous territory, where both treasure and death lay. The crew worked silently, their eyes on the dark horizon. In the tense atmosphere, a question hung over the deck. Would this trip bring them back with a haul worth $2 million? Or would it leave behind only the traces of a ship that would never return? As the ship sails deeper into the crab-rich waters, the real work begins. Giant pots, each weighing more than 300 pounds, are lined up neatly on the deck, waiting to be dropped to the sea floor. The crew worked together like a precisely programmed machine. One person dropped the pot, one person held the cable, one person marked the position on the radar. Just a small mistake, the tight wire could throw a sailor into the cold sea. Just like that, hundreds of pots disappeared one by one under the gray waves. Each one was like a heavy lottery ticket, the result of which was only known after many hours of waiting in the bitter cold. The wind was getting stronger, the waves were high, the deck was soaked with seawater and ice, but no one was allowed to stop. For them, every minute that passed meant thousands of dollars being swept away by the sea. In the tense atmosphere, there was a truth that haunted everyone on board. This was not just a struggle for survival, but a fierce battle between humans and the ocean, where only one side could win. As the last pots were dropped, the sky suddenly changed color. Dark clouds rolled in from the horizon, and in an instant, the ocean turned into a violent swirling spring. The waves rose as high as a wall, crashing straight into the bow, making the steel hull shake violently. Each impact was a warning. The Alaskan sea was never easy to tame. Seawater rushed onto the deck, instantly freezing into a smooth layer of ice, making every step a gamble for sailors. One slip, and they could be swept straight into the deadly cold water at minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit.
Here we are, last day of the trip. Weather's finally come up. Looks like we still got a few crabs to catch. John, Danny, Peter, we on controls, and Chris is getting his throwing hook ready.
When the last pots were pulled up, the deck was filled with bright red king crabs, each giant wriggling violently in its container. The previous tension gave way to excitement, but at the same time, all eyes were on the electronic scales. Each crate of crab was lifted onto the scale, the numbers jumping across the screen. 500 pounds, 800 pounds, then thousands. Each time the clock stopped, tens of thousands of dollars were added to the captain's ledger. When all the production was added up, the number that appeared made the entire crew fall silent. before exploding into cheers. More than $2 million market value. A huge haul, a worthy reward after days of struggling through the storm. From the cold decks of ships, crates of king crab are brought to port, then quickly transported to processing plants on shore. Within days, they appear on high-class dining tables in New York, Tokyo, or Shanghai, becoming a luxury dish that only high-class restaurants can serve. However, behind that halo is still a harsh price. Accidents, injuries, even lives. King crab fishing is considered one of the most dangerous professions in America, where wealth and loss go hand in hand. As the ship turned back to port, the sea gradually calmed under the red sunset. On deck, crates of king crabs were piled high like mountains. But more importantly, each exhausted face was mixed with satisfied smiles. They had overcome the most severe challenge. From fierce storms at sea to lavish parties in the city, the king crab's journey is a living testament to the strange connection between harsh nature and the lavish world. Every piece of sweet meat on the table carries the smell of sea salt and the sweat of people in the polar regions. But the Alaskan seas are never predictable. For fishermen, the real question is not how many crabs can they catch, but will they have the courage to go back to sea one more time? And that is the mystery that makes each king crab hunting season both dangerous and irresistible. Subscribe to the channel to discover more interesting stories about the fisheries industry and precious seafood species that are changing the world.